winter's gone away.
Welcome back to An Emerging Forest on the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. We hope everyone was able to stretch their legs and get a drink. And now, back to Alan.
Welcome back, everyone, and I will expeditiously get everybody back in. And there's also a new caller from 821-3638. Who is this, please?
Oh, Christina. Sorry, I'm just listening.
Oh, that's
Hi.
cool. No problem. I'll put you back on listen. Thank you, Christina. So, take it away.
Well, Dalien, people know you as 13 Hands. I know we introduced you as Daniel, but musically, people know you as 13 Hands, and you actually came to us, our very first Touch Mother Earth in 2016, and followed through for the 3 years, and then Cheryl and I took a break while we were courting one another, and I moved, and we went forward with the idea of doing one this year, and now, of course, everything's on hold. It's probably not likely we'll be doing one in September, so we can always look forward to June of 2021. But I have to say, your live performance for us with your backdrop and everything, it made those who saw you in the barn feel like we were back. You really gave us the feeling like we were sitting in your living room for a live broadcast, live concert. So I thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. I mean, it's like I said, Dave. We've known each other a long time, and I'm glad we were able to launch it there, and it was nice to be on that land that is historically a magical place and has been an anchor for over 2-3 decades of just various spiritual events and festivals. What was it? The Kindred Spirits Fair? Was that what it was for a while before?
Yeah, that's where we first met you. You were on board then, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, and so it was nice because of just the history of the land and the energy, and again, just the intention of trying to bring a new version of a spiritual gathering together on that land. And so I mean, all the 3 years were kind of uniquely beautiful in the barn with the concert, but the first one, it was just, well, you know how I am. I've been at this a long time, and I just, kirtan and chanting and interactive singing and song is just all about creating community, with music. Same thing with a drumming circle. I've been doing that too. So it's like we all use our music as a way to encourage people to feel a part of it as opposed to performing or playing at them. And that's the big differentiation, because when people feel included and you can really hold that space for everybody to feel comfortable to open their voice or move their hands, or dance, or play drum, and there's a lot of self-consciousness that is healed, and people feel comfortable and safe and vulnerable to some people don't like the sound of their voice. So there's so many different emotional healing levels with the work that we're all doing. So I mean, those moments in the barn were just absolutely magical. So and I think they've affected all of us.
How did it feel performing but not actually having an audience that you could hear clap and give you that response back, sing along, etc.?
That's an interesting question because, for so many of us, right, we're used to just being, we've all had to kind of stop the live events, the workshops, the concerts, the talks. I'm a Gemini. So I just love to be, hey, how's everybody doing? Like, in front of people. And I could adapt pretty quickly to different circumstances. My backstory of curing my endocrine system and all the crazy health struggles I went through to not die. And, and I fixed myself. And so it's like, even with the pandemic, and about the fire nearly 5 years ago, and I've been mobily living and working for 5 years through the grace and goodness of everybody in our community in 7 states with yoga. So when this pandemic hit, it definitely was like, that's no big deal. I mean, I'm not being insensitive or disrespectful. I've lost some friends, and I know many of us have had people we've known or have lost friends of friends or relatives of friends, and so I'm not trying to dismiss it or be insensitive. I'm just saying I've been through a lot, and Dave, you know my story for the most part. So this is just a process of seeing it from a spiritual lens, that like this is Mother Earth, or whatever you want to call it. A virus has forced us to put the brakes on. Now it's just a question of, are you going to slow down and listen? Are we going to listen to what it's trying to show us? Everybody's getting a different lesson from this. So making the adjustment, especially for this project with the Tim Shriver's Unite organization, it was work, because you had to really. It's almost like when you set an intention, you really had to kind of go inside. And I guess I don't act. I mean, you've seen my Instagram stuff. I can kind of do some goofy skits and things. Did you see my Darth Vader Earth Day thing?
Sure. I do it on Facebook, but yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like trying to find joy. To me, it's just an extension of joy. And even though, nobody's there and nobody can see you, I guess it's something I don't act, but I guess how actors draw on emotion, right, and memory and different tools that they draw on to imagine that scenario, that there's people there. And I think if you are coming from love and the intention, right, of joy and spreading happiness, maybe, I think it took me a bit, but I think, especially because I have to talk to my college students now. I'm teaching 200 students because our semester was interrupted, and every college went online. I'm like, how am I going to teach yoga online? I'm like, I can't see anybody. And, but I think when you find it's the same passion, it's the same love, it's the same joy, that even though you can't see them, you know in your heart, I don't know, I'm sure you figured out how to do it. And Cheryl, you make a switch, and you just know if you're coming from that purity of love, you'll make the adjustment. Even though, I'm not going to deny that I don't miss being, in the live setting with my work, but if this is what it's got to be for a while, or it is what it is. And so with the Unite thing, working with the kids in Africa, I mean, I had pictures of them. I watched videos. I had to really have them in my heart. When I was, you couldn't see it, but when I was playing my parts, I had a picture of them taped to my chest, on my heart, underneath my shirt, and, anything that just kind of helped me put myself, right, in that space of intention to create this joy. And for them, they loved it. I mean, this is a chance for them to be seen, right? They're living in an orphanage, and there's like over 60 kids, and they really just had this wonderful opportunity to express themselves and feel empowered. So knowing that, right, when you know that in the back of your mind, it kind of helps, to help you really find the right focus and the energy so that you can, present your thing live through the computer, through the phone, with that same connection, that hopefully people will feel on the other end.
When you describe the picture, putting it next to your heart, I imagine the parents that do a little monologue for their baby, their 1-year-old baby or their 1 month or 1 day old baby, and saying that, I love you, you're in this world, and knowing that child may not see it for a long, long time. They may not even see it until the parent dies or something. So it's, you just have to imagine that your audience is there. And I have to say, the creativity of the different people, even if they taught, some people taught the same class more than once, but they took a different approach each time, as if they had a different audience.
Yeah, it's really just...
It was one thing that gave us the best vibe was the fact that people did respond. They either responded in the event, or they texted us or chatted on Messenger, or in the Zoom, who showed up, their comments. All those things told us that what we were doing was totally in the right direction. People who were depressed. There were people that are really going through some hard isolation right now. And the fact that they could hear the voices of their friends, in chorus, feel like we were there in that room at that moment, even though it was virtual, really gave us such a positive that we did the right thing.
Yeah, but you created such a great foundation and community from the first three. So when you launched this online version of it, people were like, yeah, I mean, just touch Mother Earth. When you say it, anybody who's been to any of them, it, everybody's had like a good experience. So that's in our cells, right? That's in that memory, that muscle memory DNA thing. So you've branded a great, grassroots foundation. So with the online presentation, everyone's like, oh yeah, so there it was. And so the memory and the energy is still there, and the love from where it's coming from. And then now it's just a different experience for now, for whatever it needs to be.
Well, thank you.
And the word virtual is so important here because we had people tell us that they literally felt they were at a festival. They went from one room to another, and they felt like they could feel they were outside at a festival going from tent to tent.
That's nice. That's great.
It was also good that a lot of the people that have been presenters and performers were willing to do this. And this whole event was for free. We do have on our webpage a PayPal donation button that people can put to help us towards the production company, because we would like to get the equipment and whatever is necessary so that we can do this. Even when we can socially gather, there's no reason we can't stream a live concert that's happening in the sanctuary in Middletown, but being heard in Japan or Australia, which is where some of our presenters gave back to us. It was so cool to have people sign up and being willing to perform from their space in another continent, and their friends or new friends, got to hear it, and of course it being recorded, and now on our archives or YouTube, which we have listings, they'll be able to enjoy it yet again.
Yeah, we actually went around the clock because a lot of people don't know. We were having performances, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and again at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Literally, we went around the globe, and I think that was just such an incredible experience for all of us to be part of that.
Yeah, imagine somebody who's 12 hours time difference doing a performance at noon their time, but it's midnight our time. We're up, and we can enjoy singing bowl meditation, which would be their day break, and for us it would be our evening break, late evening. And the people that
we had presentations from Israel even, and around the globe. Yeah.
And we also had some in Spanish. We had a meditation in Spanish, and we had a talk about angels that was given in Spanish, where the background information was in English, but the talk was in Spanish. So we were able to hit a wider audience. In fact, go ahead, Cheryl.
So, Damien, tell us about the bigger presentation that you just did with Oprah, and the 24 hours, the donations and everything that you were just a part of.
Yeah, I'm still kind of coming down. I finally got like 11 hours sleep after just being up for about 20 of the 24 hours. But like I said, I can't, from my experience, from my perspective and my perception, the people and the teams were some of the kindest, most professional people I've worked with. And like I said, everybody was accommodating. And I'm kind of a nerd because I really had very technical questions. And when the creative team, the video production team said, all right, you know what you're doing. I go, yeah, I do this. I want to make sure that we're on the same page technically so I can do a good job for you. So that, I love that geeking stuff out, like geeking with the audio and the video and the capturing and the mixing and then swapping out the audio. I love that. That's like a Rubik's Cube thing for me. And so when you're talking the same language when you meet these types of professionals, it just sets a nice rapport because everybody's committed to the common goal of creating a nice segment. And and the whole intention as I got to know people and learn about backstory of Unite and learn more about their intention, they're really no different than you and Dave. It's like we're trying to make a difference. We're trying to get people to gently awaken to an understanding that we are interdependent and that every system on this planet is working in synchronicity and integrated, functioning with one another. And so this whole shift of consciousness to respect, the earth and people and the way that we can collaborate and contribute to each other's, abundance and ability to sustain ourselves is, it's not rocket science, but it's we all know it's all working through the different stages of healing the ego, so that we see each other truly as brothers and sisters here, just having a 100-year lease on the planet until we pay it forward and leave and pass off the baton to the next generation. So seeing and meeting some very, very conscious people as well, just and then like I said, getting in the trenches with the production of really the hard work. I mean, I was just one. I did 2 segments, but my one segment where I introduced myself and then I did a flute meditation and I did a very softer version. I don't know if it made it to the broadcast. It's on the website. But, when you're dealing with, things that are live, right, a lot of the talks like Oprah, and then you had Ariana Huffington, and, and so, and I'm not even going to, comment on that. But the thing is, when things are live, sometimes people, they just keep talking. And then, then you're dealing with trying to create a schedule and a structure, and then things kind of get thrown off. And so then you have to extend the time, or then you have to potentially cut certain things. I mean, I watched all the different facets of production and launching something like this, and and I'm not complaining about it. I'm not judging it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of work going on the night of to just make sure all the right segments were loaded up right and everything was going back and forth with the team technically. And I mean, I know it was going on right up until the day of, with the back and forth and everybody staying up 20 hours a day right into the event. Just watching all of that and hearing and staying in tune with my people who were part of who were the reason why I got into this thing. So I'm just completely in complete gratitude and in awe of the level of commitment. It's the same commitment as what you're doing. It's a different commitment in terms of the demand. It's a high. I mean, when you've got a 300-person video worldwide global production team to help you do that, that's a different animal. But the essence of the commitment, I felt, was still very, very beautiful and very, very pure, even though it kicked my butt. I mean, it really. But like I said earlier, we're all been alone and just trying to stay focused and clear and trusting in the process. And it was nice to be in a project for 3 weeks for 13 hours a day. That helped me, and I learned so much. I've learned so much just about, again, how to just continually refining how to do all this online stuff and be creative with it and make it feel authentic and human.
One thing that we have learned, first you don't always, if you're doing something in isolation, you don't necessarily know how good you look on camera or if the sound is good quality, etc., until you see it afterwards. And then you learn from that experience and you'll be able to, refine it. It is very different if you have a production company that can work in the background. But at the same time, like you said, there were probably people that had a 15-minute segment and ended up going 20 or 22 minutes, and now the next person, you don't want to bump them. So kind of what I said to Cheryl at one point was, you're like a quarterback who's juggling.
Yeah.
So you got the essence of the quarterback having to make split-minute decisions, and then the juggling, because while we were live, people would be, the screen would pop up and the chat would say, I can't find you, or where is it? I need the link. And we're thinking we had done everything possible in the background to make it as easy for people. But we learned that, we had one person who we just kept saying, you just click on the link. What do you mean? Just click it. It'll go on. Trust me.
Yeah,
turn the TV on.
I think I did that 30 times the first day. People kept texting me, how do I do this? Click it.
Well, that's what it is. That's the perfect example of knowing that you were going through that kind of stuff with just helping people, to the links. You're managing like a big like a board of lights, and you're just trying to almost like the old what's the older days when we the telephone operators, right? You're just punching in the plugs to connect all the phone calls. The phone calls into the central operator, and they're plugging in all the wires to connect the calls, like in the old. So yeah, I mean, no different than what was going on here. It's same thing, just different processes involved, and it's just high intensity, and it's very stressful on some level, depending on the personality type.
And we did not sleep very much at all because we wanted to be up as early to catch, and then, the week leading up to it, it got real intense, and we had to make sure that we ate properly and, take a shower and go out for a walk and get some fresh air.
He says all those things, but what I really had to do is make sure he slept. He was walking around with an hour sleep or 2 hours on a nap. That was the real issue, sleeping or lack thereof. So,
well,
Dave,
hard, right?
all of this is about a workshop that you facilitated during the 5 days called The New Normal. So maybe you could talk about that, and we could, just a summary of what went on in The New Normal. What is it about?
Well, we did talk about the fact that we're going to see differences that we aren't going to return to. And I really think if if we reach back into our history books, we'll remember hearing about the Victory Garden. And I had been in a Zoom chat about 2 weeks prior to our event, and one lady said that, people are returning to starting their own gardens, but right now the seed companies are running out of seeds because instead of getting 60 or 80 orders a day, they're getting 1,000, 3,000 orders, and they were running out of common vegetables. So, this tells us a lot that we have to plan a little better for the emergencies. But it also, I see that we're holding it together with each other virtually. Those who take the extra time, we're finding saying hello to people that maybe we only talk to once a year, but now we're checking in with them. Maybe they have an elderly parent they live with, and, their concern is whether the parent could catch the virus. So there's that aspect. And then there's the whole money thing, because, again, everybody did this for free because we're all in the same boat. But we know that we have to go back to some kind of funding and financial aspect. And so people, could put out a tip jar or a link. We had no problem with that. But we see this as something that we could turn into a positive. Like I said before, we could have a virtual concert where you could say, I'd like to go, I'll give you 10, 15, whatever dollars, and we'll send you the link, and then you can check it out live when it happens, and then if we record it, we'll give you access to the YouTube video so you can have it, to cherish. Because right now we're creating a level playing field where the big conglomerates and the billionaires and they're not making the money the way they were because the world came to a halt. And we're learning that we don't need the medicines that we did. We're learning all these different aspects where we are creating a new online economy. We're taking back. We're taking it back. We can have small meetings of 4 people or 20 people in a Zoom conference. It's private. We can discuss things that we want to. And we don't have to be in the same room to do it.
Yeah, it's limitless, really. It requires your own imagination and creativity on how you want to forge forward with, potential service or an online service, or how you want to reinvent your service. I mean, a lot of us, we're all like, live gig economy. So, I definitely, as you do too, we're not able to do events, so, or anything. So it's just a matter of waiting out.
We're also very,
yeah.
Sorry. We're also very proud that we push people to do things beyond their comfort zone. So people who had never played their guitar live on Facebook were doing it, and they tested it 1 or 2 times before, and got their angle, camera, and all that right. And now they said, "Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Dave, because I know I can do that now." So they're going live now. They've already gone live at least once since then. And they can earn money from their house. I mean, imagine your concert. When you came to the barn, it took you hours to set it up and a boatload of equipment. And here you're doing it where you live in your own studio, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's still not the same. I mean, for me, I'm a live guy. I've been performing for 30 years. You know, to me, yoga, we have that term called sadhana, which is the practice. Whatever we do is a spiritual practice. Setting up the barn is a spiritual practice to me. There's no anger. There's no oh, it's so tough. No, it's all beautiful to me. Even the breakdown, because it's part of just like getting on the yoga mat. To me, it's finding the right balance now that we can't do the live event, which is fine. I'm not, man, I'm so grateful that I have like a tiny home set up, because I've been mobile, as you know, for 5 years after my apartment fire. And so the timing of me actually having a roof over my head 2 months before the pandemic hit, that is a miracle of God's epic love and proportion. You know, I celebrate gratitude for that. And I'm just like enjoying being able to just slow down, be in one place for the first time in 5 years, and be able to explore some semblance of an online thing. But for me, it's just finding the right balance. I think that's what everybody's trying to do for themselves, you know. But I'm a live guy, and the minute like we can get like some outdoor, maybe some small people over here where I'm at, and do some outdoor concerts with social distancing, I'm gonna try to make sure that we can at least responsibly and safely still be able to do little things like that, just to supplement both online and gradually get back. So I miss the work. It's like my gym workout, all that lugging of equipment and setting it up. Break it down like going to Gold's Gym.
Well, I think Cheryl can tell her side of this. I think Cheryl can tell her side of the story, but we came down to Florida because she owns a condo here, but we came down for our honeymoon. And we weren't planning to be back until around May 1st. This weekend would have been our first gig, would have been Friday. Another one would have been today. Another one tomorrow. And people ask us how we're doing. We're still on our honeymoon. Hey, we have each other. I'm cooking more.
Of course, we took time out to do a 5-day festival. It's an odd thing to do on your honeymoon.
Only 5 days.
Yeah.
Only 5 days.
Oh, yeah. Only 5 days. Well, what we were going to do was plan for September. So it was a very high speed. Well, everything about us is high speed. So we basically all of a sudden turned around and went, okay, we're going to get this done. And we had less than a month to get everything planned and everything done in very close quarters. And for newlyweds, it was, it's a challenge. This is our first time really working together full time, 24/7. For weeks and everything. So we came out of it. It's a great thing to do for a honeymoon, actually. We know everything about each other.
You're closer now than ever before.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
We're not close enough. There were times where I had something on my computer screen and I needed to share it to her, and my choices were to send it in an email or in a chat. When sometimes I would just say, Cheryl, come over and look at my screen. This is what it should look like, or this is what I'm seeing, because I wish I could just like take it and with a magic wand, whoop, and there it would be over to her side of the office.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did a great thing,
really
and it was smart how you just had everybody was kind of responsible for what they were doing, either Facebook Live link or their own Zoom room. So it made it less work for you to coordinate, like with the Unite thing, because it was such a hugely, big production company. Everything was funneled through one broadcast center, which would have been chaos if you tried to pull off that, right? I mean, it was smart of you to make sure that everybody had their own Zoom and their own Facebook, so you just kind of managed the organization of the schedule. So then you hope everybody would start and you can get everything would just flow. So that was awesome to just do that, because there was less work for you in that sense. And then seeing what they had to do, because they were managing live segments and pre-recorded stuff, because it was just the nature of the beast, where some live, especially the music stuff or certain kind of things, it just, when you're working with other people in a collaborative sense, talking's not bad. You can do the live stream talking Zoom thing pretty efficiently with a decent connection. It's it's like we talked about earlier, the music thing and the latency and the rhythms getting off just because of the time delay. That's always the thing. So I had not jealous of the amount of work that they had to do, right, to make sure that everything was kind of flowing from one segment to the next, from live to a pre-tape to a live. What you did was brilliant, because that's something that just makes it a little bit more flows, and it's less of a headache.
Well, we did it on.
Yeah, our first thought. Go ahead.
Somebody go.
Our first thought was that we were going to do everything on Zoom, and I looked at Dave. I said, "That's like 20 hours a day. We're around the world." I said, "How are we going to manage Zoom 20 hours a day between the two of us and stuff?" And he said, "Well, we manage a festival physically." I said, "Yeah, it's a little different than sitting in front of a Zoom board." So that's why we decided on that everybody could take responsibility for their own production. We just coordinate and market and do all of that. So what came out of that, though, we haven't really spoken about what the result of that whole thing is. And actually it was Alan Ritter that helped us put this together or come up with the idea. And we've gone from touchmotherearth.com, which is basically our events and festivals, to an actual production company, which will be on touchmotherearth.org. And that leeway basically was becoming a live streaming production company. And what we're planning for the future are certain shows. So, for example, Dave is going to do a weekly cooking show. And we'll do a drumming circle once a week, and our own act, which is belly laugh, drum and dance without an audience, which that was difficult. We didn't know when they were going to laugh. We looked at each other. So, we'll do that once a week as an example, and we'll have earth-oriented, topic once a week. And so right now we're putting together production on certain shows that we will have, which will include, live music and of course I'll do something spiritual and a channeling. And people will teach certain things, and we'll have guests every week, a guest that will come into those shows. So we're really excited about that.
Thank you, Alan, for helping us.
So the other thing that pops into my head is you've got all this material that was just presented at the festival, which is quote unquote pre-recorded, and every other talk that is out there that can be broadcast on your quote unquote television station. So you have a massive amount of quote-unquote stuff that's in the can already.
Yeah, we have good archives, and like Cheryl said, we could have Wednesday night could be spiritual night, and we could rerun one of these as well.
Or it could just be Touch Mother Earth.
Yes, absolutely. We do have we have years of festival footage.
Yeah, I mean, like once a month, you could just do like a Touch Mother Earth, keep the spirit alive kind of thing, where you just kind of do an episode that keeps the,
Absolutely.
And then put all the marketing that at the last Wednesday of every month is Touch Mother Earth Night, and so you can get some sort of, just like an hour or a half hour, just something that is an archive piece or something that just shares the spirit of it, and that could be going from now until next June.
Yep, leading up to the actual festival itself.
Yeah.
Yes, which may not be this September, might be a year later. depending on how the
Cheryl
world
and I
goes.
grew a lot. Cheryl and I really grew. We learned our strengths of working together. What we each took a different part of it, and we made it into a cohesive whole. There were certainly, like, she's our webmaster, and I do a little more of the schmoozing with the clients, as they would say, or just fielding questions, things that required a phone call I would take on, and she would do some more of the promo and the design layout, and then we both together work on things that required visual and editing and all. We'd each contribute to that. So we learned a lot about one another, and it really strengthened our relationship.
It really did, and not only that, it gave us, a new, focus to our relationship that we didn't really know before, how we would work off of each other, and that building that team together, I swear, it's the best thing you can do at a honeymoon. It really brings you, into focus, and I don't know about the best thing, but it really builds that foundation that you need for a marriage. It really is a foundation builder.
Well, Alan, we thank you for hosting us here.
Yeah, it's really so cool with this group. I was, gonna say, well, I'll prompt you to say what comes next, and Cheryl just said, well, I think we should move on and talk about what's next. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Thank you all. I truly believe that this circumstance that we find ourselves in it's always a huge gift. And what this has caused us to realize is that we already have all the power that we need, and we already have all of the bandwidth and all of the stage access that we need. And now it's just a matter of quote unquote hard work. But we aren't denied access. We have all of the tools, and it's just a matter of whether what we bring to market finds a market. And
sure,
that's all there is to it.
Absolutely.
So,
nice
Alan,
to
thank
do
you
hard
so
work.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Dalien.
you, Cheryl. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dalien. Thank you, Christine, for listening. And thank you very much, Santha. Thank you all for being on. And we are, in all of our ways, we're going to continue to support this. I hope that we are all co-collaborating on Touch Mother Earth and through Touch Mother Earth Productions, and learning like crazy, and just moving this on as we would really like to do.
Thank you.
So good. Thanks, Alan.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Awesome.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. Sleep tight.
Good night.
And thank you.
Good night.
Bye, Alex.
Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Join us 7 nights a week for exciting programming covering a variety of expressions of faith. And remember, all manifestations of the divine are equally valid.